11, One Nation United. Breaking now at 11, One Nation United in anger, demanding justice and forcing change following the arrest of an officer and the death of an unarmed black man whose last words are now the country's rally cry.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
Now, despite a curfew in place in the Twin Cities and a plea for peace here at home, those protests are now escalating. Here just in the past hour, we have seen buildings being burned, police vehicles being destroyed. We know the situation right now, especially tense at this in Brooklyn. That's where police appear to be locked in a standoff with some protesters at the 88th precinct. We're told Mayor de Blasio working to de-escalate this situation as we speak. I want to get right out live to News 4's Adam Harding. Adam, what have you learned here in the past few minutes?
Well, Natalie, we're here outside of the Barclays Center where those peaceful protests in the last few hours have certainly erupted all across the city. Behind us here, the protesters have just left this area, but you can see the police barricades that are up and the officers that are there. I want to get you straight to some new video just into the News 4 newsroom, and you can see the chaos that is quickly unfolding. This is in downtown Brooklyn, where a protester seems to get tackled by police again here in Brooklyn after what started as peaceful protests, and then simply chaos all throughout the town. And we know that at least one police van was set on fire. You can see that in the video there. Quite simply, it turned chaotic just in the last hour to 2 hours. And protesters tonight certainly had a message that they wanted to get across. Sparks flew late into the night outside the Barclays Center.
All we want is equality. That's it. That's all we want.
Police moved in and protesters were quickly detained.
I hope it doesn't get to the level that it has done in Minnesota, but if it does, you know, it happens.
The majority of them, 700 or more, making their way southbound.
Thousands made their way to Brooklyn from Manhattan.
I am so enraged and heartbroken of what's going on in our country right now.
I came all the way here from Sunset during the coronavirus, which is a lot. And I'm sure these people come from everywhere. We just need to show them that, like, we're not nothing, we're here.
You are unlawfully in the roadway, obstructing vehicular traffic.
They are demanding change.
We're tired of seeing our people killed and shot. We're tired of it.
In the wake of George Floyd's death.
We cannot go jogging. We can't live in our own houses. They're just continuously killing us. Like, it's sickening.
Black people are getting the life sucked out of them by this system, and no one here wants to tolerate.
And again, the breaking news at this hour, it appears that the 88th precinct taking a lot of damage here as these protests continue to stretch into the near now midnight hour. Protesters got here at about 6 o'clock. They started at the Barclays Center. By 8:30, they had started to disperse. It is our understanding that there may be several factions of these protesters all throughout different parts of the city, because about 15 minutes ago, we saw another group of protesters. As for the arrests and the charges right now, we know of at least 50, but certainly one officer just told me it will be a very long night for them. Our team coverage right now continues with Ray Vieta. He is in Lower Manhattan, where this protest first began. So, Ray, what does this seem like where you are?
Hey there, Adam. Here in Lower Manhattan, the streets are much quieter than they were hours ago, when about 1,000 protesters turned out. At times, the group split up, but their message was the same: justice for George Floyd.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
The last words uttered by George Floyd in Minneapolis.
I can't breathe!
Now a rallying call in New York City and around the country. More than 1,000 people gathered in Foley Square demanding justice for Floyd.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
The 46-year-old died after a Minneapolis police officer kneeled on his neck for 9 minutes. Police said he was a forgery suspect who resisted arrest. Floyd was unarmed.
I think it's really important for everyone to understand that this has been going on forever and that it has to stop.
Floyd's death, his final words, hit home for Gwen Carr. Her son, Eric Garner, died after he was held in an apparent chokehold by an NYPD officer in July of 2014.
I think about that day that I was told that Eric was murdered. It's like an echo from the grave. And even when the young man cried out, "Mama," it's like my son is saying, Mama, do something about this because it's keep on happening.
Protesters spent much of the evening downtown. Here, some were arrested. Many marched towards the criminal courthouse outside the district attorney's office. Chopper 4 showing police trying to maintain crowd control. It was here protesters vandalized 2 NYPD vehicles. The mayor at nearby City Hall imploring for a peaceful show of emotion.
Remember, the only way we're going to make things right is by somehow finding a way to work together.
This rally, Floyd's death, comes weeks after this. A man in the East Village says an NYPD officer threatened him with a taser and punched him, accusing him of violating social distancing rules.
I want to send my heartfelt sympathy and condolences to the family of George Floyd. It could have definitely been me.
Floyd's death in Minneapolis prompting calls for justice across the country and here in New York City.
And the mayor tweeted just moments ago, while the streets here of Lower Manhattan are quiet, he said, we have a long night ahead of us in Brooklyn. Our sole focus is on de-escalating the situation and that there will be a full review of what happened. He says, we don't want another night like this ever again. We're live in Lower Manhattan tonight. I'm Ray Vieda, News 4 New York.
All right, Ray, thank you for the latest there. Now, we have seen similar demonstrations across the country today, including in our nation's capital, where at one point the White House was sent into lockdown.
Welcome, everyone. I will go over chat in just a second, but I wanted to pause the end of this real quick to point out, I just want us all right now, just real quick before we get into everything tonight. I want us all right now to look at how many cities in the United States are on the verge of absolute anarchy. Now, I don't know about you, but that thought to me is very, very scary. It's very scary. Just look at how many cities that is. We've got San Jose, Minneapolis, New York, Washington, D.C., Houston, and Atlanta. I just moved here from Atlanta like a year and a half ago. I have people that I care about in Atlanta right now. And I'm scared. I'm absolutely scared.
To give you another look at the damage in Brooklyn. Here's one more time to take a look at the NYPD vehicle that van that was set on fire. You heard what Ray just said about the mayor tweeting about the long night ahead. And the focus here of police and city leaders is really just to de-escalate this situation. We, of course, are going to stay on top of this and make sure we keep you up to speed throughout this newscast and also on our website, NBCNewYork.com.
How we doing, everybody? I mean, besides the obvious, which we're gonna talk about these feelings that we're all having. That's definitely what we're gonna do tonight. Now, how's it going, Sandra Miller? Yeah, you were early. I love it. Rockabilly Daisy, Angelina ATF, D-Cause, Rosemarie, Copper's in here. Okay. Christy Wright, Dee Dee the nurse. Good to see you again. Mignon, what's up? All right. It's good to see you in here. We were all, yeah, I think you had surgery this morning, right? Or today? Didn't that happen? Or is that tomorrow? But let us know. Loving life at home. Quinny, how's it going? Fake Teddy. Okay. Now, what's crazy to me, guys, I've been at work all day. I have not had much of a chance. Hey, Eric G. Yeah, that's another thing. We're gonna get to that too, Eric G. Thank you for that. All right, Mignon. All right, well, Mignon had surgery, and I'm guessing it went well since she is here with us. So, those prayers and good vibes that you guys sent out paid off. Thank you guys for that, man. That's awesome. You guys know how important she is to all of us. And how important she is to this channel. So, guys, I have not had much of a chance today to follow the news as much as possible, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Now, this person, this poor excuse for a man, much less a officer of the law, Derek Chauvin, was finally charged today, and he was charged with third-degree murder. And I have some strong feelings about that. And I think, hey, Joan Brown, what's up? Hey, Lufa. I have some very, very strong feelings about that, as I imagine that most of you, if not all of you, do as well. And I've been listening to Duty Ron. He's been live all day. I think he's live right now, actually. And he had a very special guest. And I feel kind of bad that I don't remember his name. I know he's a doctor, and I know that he is a New York City Police Department veteran, went to the academy with Duty Ron, who has been friends with Duty Ron for 29 years, apparently. And he was very, very insightful, and he had a lot of very good information. And he was very, very kind to have shared that information with us. In our little YouTube world, which is really cool. And the way he explained it, it is the way that's what it is. My problem is I have a problem with what it is. So, and it I was hearing a lot of stuff on the news from people saying things like, well, that's just because they're a police officer. There's a certain procedure that takes place that is time consuming. And see, I have a problem with that. I understand it, and I understand that that's how it is, but I have a problem with that. My problem with that is because when a crime like that has been committed, this poor man, this defenseless man, and basically, as Duty Ron said himself, an innocent man, regardless if he was guilty of the crime that he was accused of, which is petty at best. So regardless of that, that's still an innocent man in my book. Duty Ron that said the same thing. I can't disagree with him. Absolutely. It just so this man is an innocent, defenseless man, and we all saw the footage, and I didn't see this man resisting, or at least not in a way that was a threat to the officers in any way, shape, or form. I think once they're cuffed, I think that's it. That's a wrap. They've been submitted to you. And I think that's it. You put him in the car. You simply you put him in handcuffs. You put him in the car. This man was handcuffed the entire time this was happening. And this Chauvin piece of shit who I have contempt for, not only for what he did. First of all, if you're a murderer, you're a piece of shit. Second of all, if you're a murderer and it's race motivated, you're double, triple the piece of shit. And if you're a cop on top of all that, I don't even know what the fucking word is. I have no idea how to even describe. I mean, an animal doesn't even cover it. So, and we all saw it. We all saw it. And I think the cherry on top of all of that is the fact that he looked dead into the camera and didn't care that he was being filmed. He felt that untouchable. He felt that invincible. My heart's beating so fast right now. I'm telling you, this, I've never, I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember a case. I mean, we come from a true crime. Hey, the Finn, we come from a true crime community where what we do is we rack our brains in speculation, guys. We rack our brains in speculation trying to figure out where a missing person might be. The evidence is all right there. We spend our time sitting here looking at these true crime cases and going, hey, we understand that it takes time to build a case. When we're, with Letitia Stock, we were all like, oh, okay, it takes time, we all knew in our hearts that she was going to be arrested. We all knew it at some point, and we're, we understand that the police have to build a case because, yes, we are looking for a conviction. Cops aren't looking to arrest. They're looking to convict. The ones that are doing the job the way that they're supposed to do are looking for a conviction, not an arrest. An arrest is just a step towards the conviction. So I understand all that. But the thing is in my personal opinion, comparing this to any other true crime case that we have ever gotten so deep and dove ourselves completely into, right? We've never seen a case where the evidence was not only abundantly clear, but disgustingly clear. We were grossed out by what we were watching. But we needed to see, we needed to know that this is what happened without a shadow of a doubt. If I'm somebody, and I'm not a lawyer, I get it. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in law enforcement. I don't know. I just don't know how it works necessarily. But common sense dictates to me that if I am a district attorney and I don't give a shit who's in a uniform, who's not, and I see that happen on video, I'm going, go pick that guy up now. This is all I need. This is a slam dunk. I'm not seeing the complication here, people. I'm not seeing not only, and you know what, if it wasn't so fucking disgusting, I would play the thing again and go over as to what I would, if I was a prosecutor, I would just be like, listen to this person right here who's saying that as a first responder, she can't believe that you, a police officer who's trained in CPR, who's trained to save lives, didn't do anything to try to help him after you had your knee on his neck. He's telling you he can't breathe, and then he becomes unconscious, incapacitated completely. And then you after just keeping your knee on them and keeping your hand, your fist against your thigh to put more leverage on, that's murder. That's deliberate, cold-blooded murder. I don't give a shit how you want to word it. That's what it is. That's what I saw. That's what you saw. That's what the people in the streets of these major cities saw. And that's why they're angry. But mostly they're angry because it took this long to put this guy in handcuffs. And the other 3 still walking free. And right now, people's livelihoods are being destroyed. People are being hurt. Civilians and police officers are being hurt right now. There's shooting happening in Atlanta. What is happening? We can speculate on what's happening right now. What's happening right now is a result of something that has been happening over and over and over and over again. And this is what it took to get people to open their eyes to it. As much as I hate to admit that, that's where we are. And I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that what's going on out there is justified. There is no justification in setting someone's business on fire. There is no justification in running in there and stealing things in the name of protest. That is not protest. That is looting. Let's go to some footage here. No. I don't know what's going on there. That's something else. Okay, hold on. Yo, why? Here we go.
To protest, many of them turn from protesting to causing more problems and clashes with police, and as it gets later, it does tend to get a little bit more tense and intense in terms of the interaction with police. Well, and everybody gets tired. Protesters get tired, police get tired, and they get edgy.
Absolutely. And, the San Jose, speaking of tired, our very own I-Team reporter Dan Noyes and our heroic photographer Alex Gray, who was, carrying a camera for who knows how many hours today. They were walking through the streets of downtown San Jose as the protests there erupted, giving us really incredible ground shots and information about what was going on as the protesters clashed with San Jose police who were in tactical gear. And I'm just told that we have some of Dan Noyes' reporting from earlier this evening.
Here's a new scene, Dan. This is something that's happening right now. People are taking a knee. You have probably 40 people right now taking a knee right in front of the officers.
We don't have that shot yet on Sky 7. Yes, now we see it. We've got it. There we see it.
Right. So the protesters have decided their tactic is best to take a knee and not move. You have probably 30 people across right in front of the officers, and then behind the officers you have another, guessing 60 people also taking a knee, shouting, "I can't breathe."
Dan, it definitely has escalated some, I've got to say. When you're just feet away from a flashbang grenade, it'll get your attention. That's just what happened a few seconds ago. You can see a guy on the ground here. Oh, we got to clear out a little bit. You see there's another flashbang grenade. They are definitely, yes, the police are escalating their response. They are taking more extreme measures to...
That's interesting. That's interesting, Betsy B. You're saying that you're seeing Antifa, that it's not organic. Where did I see that? Here we go. Okay. You're saying that that you're seeing Antifa and BLM. I don't know what BLM is. I'm not very well educated, but I do know what Antifa is. I could see Antifa using this as an excuse to make things violent. I can see that happening. Absolutely. But I don't want to take away from the fact that this is now, to me, this is something that it's just, it never should have happened. You know, obviously the murder should have never happened, but the protests, I have two sides to that coin as far as my opinions on it. Oh, Black Lives Matter. I didn't put that together. But of course, Black Lives Matter is, you know, yeah, this is definitely a Black Lives Matter issue. There's absolutely no, doubt in my mind. And it's, I'm having trouble, yeah, Betsy B, I see what you're saying. Now, the thing is I can't allow that to minimize the fact that what's happening right now, it started off organic at least, and I'm not saying that it's still not, because what happened was, the entire world saw a police officer in Minneapolis murder a man in front of a crowd of people. And guys, I don't want any arguing in the chat when it comes to this stuff. We're all entitled to our opinions, but please, this is kind of like, you know what I watched the other night? I watched Highlander, right? Highlander, if you don't know, there's these immortal guys, and there's this whole thing there where there can be only one left in the world, and they're all immortal. The only way to kill them is with a sword, cut their head off, right? So these guys sword fight, and then blah, 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 blah. But the thing is sometimes they have to meet up and talk. And when they do, what they do is they meet up and talk and on holy ground. The rules of the whole Highlander contest thing is that when they're on holy ground, which is like a church or cemetery or anything like that, they can't fight. They can only discuss things. So think of this as holy ground in the Highlander universe. We can all have an opinion. We're all entitled to our opinion. I think we can all agree that what makes America great is the fact that we can have our opinions, and we can express them without being nasty. So, and I don't mind a little scruffle here and there. I don't. I'm not gonna lie, but this issue is way too sensitive, And I'm not seeing a lot of people in my chat that are really qualified to have this argument, if you know what I mean. That includes myself. So I want to be respectful. And this is an issue that that has clearly been a problem for generations and generations. And I remember my brother had posted something on Facebook, and it was a question. He was merely trying to ignite some discussion. And I can't remember exactly what the question was, but it was basically kind of getting a feel of how people feel about these protests and riots right now. And it's sad because there's two sides to this coin, right? I think it's sad that people have not evolved since the Rodney King thing, and we and we haven't figured out a way to rationally and in a civilized manner come together and protest in an organized fashion that's productive. Some creative way to do that that's productive, and instead of setting their entire community, their own community on fire, their own neighborhood. And I think that that's really sad, that's where we still are. But the other side of that coin is, I think it's really, really damn sad that we still have men and women who wear a uniform, who have taken an oath to serve and protect us. And that's everybody. Everybody, doesn't matter what skin color you are, what nationality you are, what religion you are. That's everybody. And it's really sad that somebody who puts on that uniform and takes that oath, puts on a badge and a gun, carries a gun, that they could still think this way. That they could still treat people like this. That they fear progress so much. I mean, people are angry, man. And rightfully so. And I'm not justifying what's happening. I'm not justifying what's happening. But I am saying that I understand it. I am saying that I genuinely empathize with everyone that's out there. I get it. And it sucks, you know. It's really, really sad that it's gotten to this. But, and I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial here, but I'm not going to apologize for it. In a way, because I like to try to find a silver lining in everything, guys. I like to find something to have gratitude for in everything. That has been the key to my happiness. That's what this channel was started to reiterate. This is a personal blog for me. And I've been a happier person. And in theory, I believe that I can maintain this happiness no matter how bad the world gets. Because I can find something to be grateful for in everything if I really try to. And figuring that out about myself has made me incredibly happy. And to me, in this weird way, I wish it were under better circumstances. I wish it were, I wish it weren't in this manner. But I'm grateful that so many people feel united and feel so passionate about something, and that is bringing them together. I'm grateful to see that, because that's something that we don't get to see very often. But it's really sad that it took something like this for this to happen. And this is all fueled by negative emotions. This is all fueled by anger. This is all fueled by sadness, confusion, frustration. That's a police officer stuck under that car. Let's listen to what's going on. Let's listen.
Looks like, and helped out, which I'm sure they appreciated. And it looks terrible because he's sort of hanging there, but I think we saw him get up a minute later and just shaken up. And
you can see he's emotional. He looked like he was, perhaps crying, really shaken up there.
Yeah, you get, police officers get scared too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and I think that's part of the struggle is that sometimes it doesn't feel, oh, here we are back live over Oakland. I think we forget that we're all human. We all have families at home. We're all somebody's child or mother or father or friend.
Yeah.
And I think we forget that when we have, you see people in a professional uniform or you see people in, whatever they do for a living, that we all just try and focus on the commonality.
Yeah. Right.
Which is that we all want to get home safely at night and we all want hopefully the best for each other.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kate. And I would extend that to the protesters. Most of them are, they have day jobs and we just like the police officers, they're just individual human beings doing the best they can. And, any bad actors, just like we saw in Minneapolis in terms of the police officer, same thing is true with some protesters that may behave poorly. But most people are just trying to get through their day and stay safe and raise their families and live good lives.
Yeah. Well, and you saw that right there play out with the person who was smashing one of the cars, that most people were just sort of standing around peacefully. It wasn't a group of people that were acting violently or inappropriately or unlawfully. But now we've got Sky 7 still overhead, the protests here in Oakland.
Hey, Kate, let's show another great piece of video from earlier. Watch this. This guy got out of his car. They were messing with the hood of his car. And then the driver shook hands with the hooded protester and gets back in his car. Again, it was just kind of an interesting, we're in this together moment, a moment of tolerance and understanding, and no problem. The guy got out of his car, shook hands with the protester, and that was the end of it. You see how it started here. I don't know if he was trying to help him do something with his car because it was overheating, or if they were trying to mess with his car. I don't know. But, this guy.
Dude, what? I mean, that's really cool. That goes into what I was talking about just a little, just a minute ago. What's up, Seraphin? Just a minute ago, man. It goes into that, which is nice, man. It's definitely, there's a positive here. There's definitely a positive here. But there's way too much negative.
Calmly gets out. The protester extended his hand, and the guy took it, shook his hand, and got back in his car. It was really an interesting moment.
Interesting.
The process still making their point, why they came out tonight to express their outrage and disgust at what happened in Minneapolis.
Absolutely. And you can see these are streets that are open to traffic. So it appears as though they're sort of moving away from the center of where that protest was at 7th and Broadway at OPD headquarters. So perhaps this is the crowd dispersing now after a very long and dangerous night in downtown Oakland. We keep going back to those moments on 880 when a large group of protesters ran across the freeway with cars speeding at 60, 70 miles per hour, not realizing that there were protesters trying to block traffic.
We both gasped. I know you did, Katie. I did as well.
Took my breath away because these protesters were feet, if not inches, away from getting hit.
Really remarkable scene earlier in the day, and we've talked about it here in San Jose, where our really fearless I-Team reporter Dan Noyes was on the streets of downtown San Jose today, right with police and protesters. Take a look at some of what he and his photographer captured today.
Here's a new scene, Dan. This is something that's happening right now. People are taking a knee. You have probably 40 people right now taking a knee
See,
right in front of the office.
an interesting thing here, guys, is for me, keep it playing. For me, I'm actually I'm definitely against people looting and destroying things, and any violence, but I'm going to say that the peaceful protesters, I'm behind them 150%. I am 150% behind the peaceful protesters. Something needs to change. Something needs to change in the way that we choose our law enforcement officers. It's there has to be a standard, a higher standard set, and it's you cannot blame African Americans for how they feel right now. There's not one. I mean, look at how emotionally affected we are. That can't even begin to compare to any African American who saw that footage. I mean, it's just not, we can't. There's no way you could ever understand. I mean, it's blowing my mind that these other three officers, it's third degree murder. Caleb was in Duty Ron's chat earlier, and he was saying, because Caleb always puts some sweet, little info, accurate info in the chat, and he said that it's a 10 to 15 year sentence. What about parole? I mean, this was a hate crime caught on video, and this guy's getting third degree. No, dude. No wonder everyone's angry. No wonder everyone is angry. That's nothing. That's nothing for what he did. This guy had so many complaints on him in his department. God, I mean, I'm telling you, I am pissed off about it too. I can't even imagine how fed up any African American in this country feels right now. I can't even begin to visualize it. And anybody out there that is an African American, or a minority at least, there's no way you're gonna understand. There's no way you're gonna begin to be able to process that thought. Yeah. That's crazy. Now, I wonder, let's play with something a little bit, guys. Let's play with something a little bit. What if that police officer was African American and the victim was white? I wonder if it would even gotten that far. I'm questioning whether or not even a police officer would just stand there. They would stop him. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. That's how quickly people feel just a natural threat around an African American when you're not an African American in this country. That's the truth. That's the truth. There's just very, very small level, no matter how unprejudiced you are, no matter how, open-minded and just forward thinking that you are, that little bit is implanted in our heads because of history. Because this has been happening on the news throughout our lives. Not necessarily the riots and whatnot, but, you know, an African American being killed, being murdered by a cop. And now it's not just that. It's this transgender person in Florida too. You know, it's getting, you know, and then of course, guys, you know, he's not a police officer, but Mandy Gorsuch, come on, that was a hate crime, and he's buddies with everybody in at the police force in that local area. So that's why he hasn't been arrested. As a matter of fact, Mandy's friend, the one who made me aware of, she's a member of my group, and the one that made me aware of Mandy's case, she posted an article again. He went to court, still no jail time. Nothing for this guy. They didn't bring the charges down, nothing. Mandy may never see justice. That's really sad to me. That's really, really sad to me. And you know, as many times as we post the petition here in the chat, and as many people who have signed it, and a bunch of people signed it, like JS for Justice was kind enough to allow me to talk about that case on her channel, and it we got a lot of signatures on that, you know, and it's really discouraging. It really makes you really sad about the system, and disappointed in the system. Now I'm actually trying to find the thing that wonder if I passed it though. Is everybody doing all right tonight? Is everybody it's good to spend a Friday night with you guys. Hold on a second. I think I got this going, y'all. All right, and this is gonna piss me off on a whole nother level too. All right? Oh man, this world is going crazy, people. World is going crazy. I'm gonna read this article out loud. I thought there was like a TV report that I was gonna play. I thought there was one of those, but I think it's just an article. So I'm just gonna read the article, y'all. So the headline is "Still no jail time for former firefighter accused of killing Guthrie mother, busted for DUI months later." Guthrie, Oklahoma, the man accused of, hold on a second, maybe there is, no, I think a video is loading, but whatever, I'll just keep reading. The man accused of hitting and killing a Guthrie mother with his pickup and getting a DUI months later was back in court Thursday afternoon. The judge decided to give Zachary Simmons another chance and is allowed to wait at home for his trial. The 28-year-old is still out on bond since police say he hit and killed Mandy Gorsuch back in October with his pickup in downtown Guthrie.
And now a former volunteer firefighter on thin ice with the law.
I have
Hold on 1 second. Look at this dude. Hold on, dude. You all got to see this motherfucker. You all got to see this fool right here.
That video from the second time Zachary Simmons was arrested, that time for DUI. But we first told you about him in October.
Hold on.
Killing a young mother outside a Guthrie bar. In both cases, he didn't spend a single night.
Oh, my bad.
Given a third chance as a free man.
News Force Peyton Yeager is there and
Hold on.
forced to face a judge today. Peyton, you saw it.
Yeah, but Logan.
Hold on, guys. Sorry, this thing messed up on me. Oh, actually, I just shared the wrong screen. It's my fault. Accountability, y'all. Accountability. All right. I'm trying to get full screen here. Here we go.
Zachary Simmons another shot. But Mandy's family is wondering why the first offense wasn't enough.
My hope.
Here we go. Hold on. I'm gonna start this over, guys. Oh, wait. That was the volume. Hold on. I gotta start this over.
Show that he is above the law.
Zachary Simmons, a former volunteer firefighter, accused of hitting and killing the young mother outside a Guthrie bar back in October. Police say the two had gotten into an argument only minutes before. Simmons allegedly flashing his badge, gunning his truck, and running Gorsuch over before speeding off. A week later,
You guys see this guy's,
Later, when he turned himself in, charged with leaving the scene of a fatality accident.
I'm losing it. I'm falling apart.
In that case, Simmons had to pay $50,000 and agree to stop drinking.
I have 0 name to pick up right now.
But only a few months later, picked up in Payne County, accused of chunking a case of beer out his window.
Don't do that. Get your hand off that now.
Blaming him a DUI, resisting arrest, and officers finding
What?
an open blade.
Oh, that open.
Oh, yeah.
No, that just...
While you're digging in your pocket trying to pull it out.
Still, Simmons given no jail time. The only change to his bond, no driving.
They're giving this guy a second chance.
Thursday, he was dropped off to face a judge. First time we've seen him since.
Mr. Simmons, we just want to know if you have learned your lesson since the Payne County incident.
Look at this guy, dude.
Adams answering for him.
It's not the end of the world. We just need to deal with it, and he'll be fine.
I have a tendency.
Wow, dude. Now it's so abundantly clear right now what kind of good old boy bullshit is going on in that town. Like, yo, who didn't just watch that and get utterly infuriated? That made me so angry, dude. This guy had the balls to sit there and like he almost pulled a knife out on the cops that pulled him over. And no jail time.
See, to believe that he's exactly right, because it's not what you do, it's who you know that will get you out of it.
Due to COVID-19, Simmons' preliminary hearing is pushed to August 20th. In Logan County, Peyton Yeager, Oklahoma's News 4.
See, I wish I could get that dude on this channel, honestly. I wish I could get that dude on this channel and talk to him. That was, I believe that was Mandy's uncle or cousin. Yeah, I mean, yo, I'm still
working on the front lines of the COVID.
I'm gonna keep sharing this this petition, guys. If you're new to this channel, please, Breakfast Club fan has dropped the link. Thank you for that. And sign that petition. If that made you as mad as it made me watching that, looking at this guy's face, watching him mess with the cops, and then watching him walk up to, and his lawyer. Yo, I hate his lawyer just as much as I can't stand this guy. I'm not even trying to lie. His lawyer is like, oh, it's just something else we got to get over and he'll be fine. Come on, man. Come on with that shit kicker bullshit, man. No offense to anybody who's, a rancher or or Southern even. I mean, I know, but man, that's that man just walk up there with that cowboy hat on, his fucking little patterned leather belt. That was infuriating, man. That was infuriating. I can't believe that after that, nobody took a second look at this guy. That's another thing. I mean, this is what I'm trying to say, folks, is not only is this crap happening everywhere over Black Lives Matter, but think of all the other prejudices and hate crimes that take place. Think of the diversity on this planet, and how can you think of the diversity on this planet and not think of it as something absolutely beautiful? Just the different cultures that Black people have, the different cultures from all over the world, beautiful traditions, and much of it was robbed from them. This is just what they've done in the past couple of centuries. I mean, how's that not absolutely beautiful? How's that not something to absolutely, completely respect by now? By anybody? I mean, you think about all the different races that there are and the beautiful cultures behind them. We all come from beautiful places. Except for white people historically. White people have been fucking shit up forever. It's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, come on. So I don't agree with what's happening right now and how it's being executed, but I get it. I understand it. I am nobody to point fingers at other than that police officer for what he did. And right now, the system for how it's going about dealing with it. Because he's a police officer, he's getting better treatment, it seems like, to the public because of how long it's taking to charge them. Now, the excuse is that they're building a case, but I'm of the opinion, as I stated earlier, I'm of the opinion that evidence, again, I don't know the law, but that seems like a slam dunk for the prosecution. It is video footage. This man is looking dead into the camera. I mean, come on, people. Come on. Like, are we not people who sit here and pick apart cases, murder cases? When the hell have you ever seen straight footage of it? And commentary from the witnesses that are saying, dude, you just killed that guy. You just killed him. And you're not even going to check him. You're not even going to. The only way these people are going to stop rioting, the only way is if they just charge these guys. Charge them with something better than third-degree murder. I mean, that's the thing is these protesters, they're angry because justice is not being served. Justice is not being, they want justice. And I mean, they just want justice. And they're angry and nobody's doing anything about it except sending more cops. Sending the National Guard. The National Guard is being sent into these places. Being sent into Atlanta. I don't know what the hell just happened there. Kicked me off everything. Hold on. We're going to go to some more footage here, guys. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know what happened. Just like kicked me off of Google altogether. So let's see. Maybe we can find. All right. Check out ABC. All right. People getting hauled away in handcuffs, man. That's.
It's unsafe. It's an unlawful assembly. It's dangerous for all the residents and others. And so it's unfortunate. It's a dark day in our history that we have to do this. But this is what's going to save lives, and this is what's going to save property.
Chief Moore saying he is extremely disappointed with how the night turned out. He says he was hoping it was going to be a peaceful protest. He does not like the way that it has taken a serious turn. Now, we have seen numerous arrests tonight, and they are continuing as, again, authorities try to clear the entire downtown area of protesters. Live in downtown Los Angeles, Leanne Suter, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Leanne, thank you. Let's go back up to Chris Christie in Air 7 HD. And as we cover this, Chris, something that occurred to me that you said earlier that really struck home with me. You know, when the demonstration began at about 5-ish, 5:30 this evening, a lot of people carrying protest signs. You could hear chanting. You could hear a lot of things on the ground. The protest signs are gone. The chanting, we're not really hearing. All we're seeing is folks who seem to have another motive. Would you say that's a pretty accurate description?
Yeah.
You're so right about that, Mark. As the sun set, the crowd started to dwindle, and the crowd started to skew much younger. When the protest started, it was all ages. It was every group you can imagine joining together and really expressing their frustration and exercising their First Amendment rights in light of the tragedy in Minneapolis. However, as night has fallen, you can see that the crowd has taken on a different tone and a different population altogether. These folks are really just basically intent on testing the patience of law enforcement. They are obviously frustrated in their own right. They have their own issues with police, but it is turned into a free-for-all, and they are using this, it seems to me, as an opportunity to cause random destruction, cause random violence, if you will. I mean, at one point earlier this evening, when it did come to a head over in Pershing Square, where one of those officers was hurt that you mentioned, it really took an ugly turn. I mean, they were tossing garbage cans and trash at these officers. We've got some video to roll from you from a little bit earlier of one of the LAPD cruisers just being completely trashed. We saw one with the windows completely smashed in, graffiti. There's a lot of vandals out here with spray paint tagging any building that they can find. We can't breathe. They've spray painted all kinds of anti-police rhetoric on different buildings and different landmarks. And it was an ugly scene. Things really took an ugly turn during the 7 o'clock hour as the sun began to set. And it's only gotten worse since then.
And all of this, of course, in response to a very ugly incident, in fact, an ugly series of incidents involving African Americans who have been killed by police. In one case, the accusation against the officer is murder. That officer in Minneapolis charged today with the murder of George Floyd. And so what we're seeing is an eruption of anger and a reaction to that anger that has taken a turn that is destructive in its own right. And it's difficult to watch. All of it has been difficult to deal with and watch all week, both the video and the reaction to it and the death of George Floyd. It has all been very, very difficult to deal with. Worth noting, too, something that I've noticed is the diversity of the crowd.
Am I crazy, or did there seem to be like a little bit of a tension, or at least like a, between the two commentators? Like, because it stands to reason that people have, everyone has really strong feelings about what's going on right now. So you've got one commentator who's saying, it seems like the motive is shifted. The motive is shifted from protesting to just looting and violence. And that's quite possible that that's true. And he's talking about how horrific it is, but then the other guy chimes in and says, yeah, what happened to George Floyd was barbaric and horrific, and we all saw that. And everything that we're seeing this week is awful. And I'm going to say something here, guys. I'm going to say something here, and I really hope that I'm wrong. I really truly hope that I'm wrong. But what this seems to be evolving into, what this seems to be morphing into, mutating into is probably the best word to use. What this seems to be mutating into is a war on the police. And that's a really scary, scary thing, because the police are not accountable for this. Actually, let me rephrase that. Certain policies when it comes to vetting police officers need to be improved. Therefore, there is a level of accountability on the police force for that. I will say that. But these men and women that are out here, the majority of them are family people, good people, people who took the badge because they wanted to make a difference and they wanted to help. They genuinely wanted to help people. And I feel very, very strongly about that. And I think that we all need to recognize that no matter how angry we are about everything, we need to always, always understand that the majority of these people, these men and women that put on a uniform, carry a gun, wear a badge, they joined the police force because they wanted to make a difference. Mehdi Isaac, is that how you pronounce your name? I don't know how to pronounce your name. I apologize. And thank you for joining the chat, and I appreciate your comment. You're saying it's not a war on police, it's a scream to be heard. That's what it is right now. I agree with you. But what I'm saying is it is mutating into a war on police. And I really hope that that doesn't happen. I truly, honestly hope that that doesn't happen.
Crowd, both the peaceful and the non-peaceful elements of this event, if you want to call it tonight, have really reflected what LA looks like. I have seen people of all colors, all ages. Now, as you mentioned, Chris, it does seem to be younger people who are out now, but these are younger people of all different ethnicities that seem to
And
be
the thing that
gathered on the streets tonight.
the thing that I played at the beginning of this, the thing that I played at the beginning of this, some of the people that were being interviewed, you know, they came from other cities to join the protests, but some of them, I feel like, think about that too. Think about how many weak dispositions are out there right now, joining riots just to do it, just because it seemed like a cool thing to do. They've been in quarantine all this time, and then it's like, oh, everybody's throwing a fit, so let's go join them and have a good time doing it, right? How many people like that are out there? And I'm going to venture to guess there's a lot of them. Not the majority, but a lot of them. Good night, Hope Addis. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Wow. Really, really nice comment. I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, is these are human beings, guys. You know, these are human beings that have this responsibility of being police officers. So there's going to be a few bad eggs. There's always going to be a few bad eggs. But that doesn't excuse the fact that obviously there needs to be better, you know, that there needs to be a more effective system for vetting police officers, for hiring them. There just has to be a higher standard for it. There has to be. What is this? I wonder what's going on here.
I mean, you just told me you got kids inside. Are you worried about your family? You live.
Wonder what that was all about. Good night, Copper. Thanks for being here. Oh, there's no sound, man. Like I didn't mute it. Yeah, it's the way the feed is. It's not me. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Seems like it's just cops. Guys, I've heard the words, things are going to get worse before it gets better. Throughout every time I hear a news clip or something, somebody saying that. And I can't deny that. And we're going to have to accept that, guys. And all I can say is, let's take this opportunity to try to help each other, and I mean in every possible way. Try to be more understanding of someone else. Try to walk a mile in their shoes just for a minute, no matter who they are. Anybody that you're having an issue with, anybody that you're feeling like you've got some sort of grudge against. I feel like now is a good time to start feeling like you have gratitude. Find reasons to be grateful for that person being in your life. There's always a positive to something, I think. Try to ask yourself what you can be doing better, I think. And I'm not trying to, preach at anybody or tell anybody what to do. I'm saying, for me, I know I want to be able to do that more. I'm seeing this as an opportunity to do that. And just thinking about it and telling myself that I know I'm going to try to do that, makes me feel real good. So I'm hoping that, somebody else feels the same way when they see this stuff. I mean, I was saying earlier that this is also an opportunity. This is also an opportunity for us to be closer. Because again, even though these are under horrible circumstances, there are people out there that are helping each other right now. There are people out there doing horrible things. But there's also people out there for the right reasons, and they're trying to help each other. And I know that I'm of the opinion right now that I just want to be I want to be happy. And I've learned how to be happy by just finding a bright side to everything. And the things, when these horrible things happen in the world, or they happen to us, the most prolonging pain just comes from us holding on to it and letting it hurt us. But when we see situations like this, even if it's just, giving somebody your ear, when we see situations like this and people get emotional about it, it's real easy to get into an argument. It's real easy to have strong opinions, but I think it's real important, if there was ever a time to really try to understand that other point of view in all this. And I think that's what's going to get us through this, is a little tolerance. I think that's what's going to get us through this. You know, it's easy to take a little. It's not easy. It's simple, but to take a little inventory on really what we need to hang on to, and what we can let go. You know, in order to let things be a little bit more easy for us to move forward. You know, the more weight you got dragging behind you, the harder it's going to be to move forward, right? And there's always going to be stuff that haunts you, you know, and it's never going to go away. And then we do things to try to make these things go away as much as we can. We take pills, we drink, you know, and we do everything we can. But the thing is sometimes these things, they don't go away. So what you're left with and what matters is how you manage them and how you deal with them in your mind. How much you allow it to control your decision making. And learning that and trying to keep that in my pattern of thinking has made things easier for me. And I'm really hoping that this situation, no matter how bad it gets, this pattern of behavior, this thing that I've applied for myself, I'm really hoping and believing that it'll get me through this no matter how bad it gets. But I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I had a really, really nice time with you guys. And it's really sad that it's under these circumstances, but I will be back with you guys definitely later on, sometime over the weekend for sure. I'll do an earlier one, probably Sunday, maybe even tomorrow night. Who knows? But I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys tonight, and I am sorry it's under these circumstances, but it was nice to be able to express to you guys how I feel about these things, and it was nice to read your comments and how you feel. But anyways, guys, I love you, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.